Hey everyone, hope you had a good Christmas. So a couple of Christmas presents I got for my cars, for the 32 GT-R, a nice Nismo black anodized shift knob. I recently put an extension on the shifter as well, so I quite like a long throw, but then I've got the solid shift kit in it as well, which means the gearbox is nice and notchy, but I actually quite like having the gear stick up high, and yeah, so I put that on. And second one is the very old school Nismo sticker, which I'll put on the DR30. So this is the original Nismo logo. They then changed it to, I don't know if you can see that, a more rounded lettering of Nismo with a solid O, and then finally with an open O. So there's been at least 3 versions of the Nismo logo along the way. And for myself, I bought this set of floaty driving boots, Super Stratas, in brown. So I was just unboxing them and having a look at them. So they're lace up, and then with the 2 straps at the top, and so far look really nice. Very soft leather, nice solid sole, plenty of padding in the heel, and quite wide here, help your heel and toe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go with those. In fact, I'm going to get in the car now and we'll just talk about goals for 2017 in terms of what I'm doing with the Skylines, the various Skylines this year. Yes, I'll see you in a minute. So welcome to the HR31 GTS-R, and yeah, a little tyre squeal there is pretty much happens every time you turn a corner in this car with power on, because that limited slip diff is pretty tight. Anyway, let's go through the cars. I've had the rare opportunity to have them all at home recently, and lined them all up and had to think about what I want to do with them in 2017. So I was just going to go through each one now and talk about what I've done the last year and what I want to do next year with the cars, including this one. So starting with the DR30. So 2016, it got coilovers, which were sourced from Japan, and the rear, those really nice tower braces, the sort of chrome with the red tower braces, front and rear. They're really pretty, I like those. It got new wheels and tyres, which I did a whole video about that. And one, I guess, follow on from that video is, after all the sort of stretching and pulling and guard rolling and what have you, it turned out that really the back wheels would have to have flared arches to fit the offset of wheel that I'd selected, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't, chop the guards on that car. So I decided to change the wheel, and I put the same wheel that I put on the front on the back now, and that fits just with rolled guards, and it looks, you can see from the photos, looks really, really amazing. So I'm happy with that. We'll leave that like that. The DR30, I also bought the Genesis front air dam for it, and the other aero parts, so the fender fins and the same similar things for the back. Now those part of the plan for 17 is to get that front air dam painted in body colour, and then I might just put the bottom of it, I might just plastic dip the bottom of it black to sort of match the black stripes of the rest of the car. It also got new floor mats and a little bit of, I had a guy, one of these paintless repair guys come out. He was amazing. Like, he went around the car panel by panel and just tapped out a few little dings that, you know, any sort of ding that hasn't actually gone through the paint, he was able to just knock them out. So and it's like you would never know that there was any flaw there. So the car's pretty much immaculate in terms of the body now. I also went over the whole body with an orbital buffer. I bought an orbital buffer this year, Mint brand, and I went over that whole car because I don't think in its life it's probably had a cut and polish, and that's really brought the paint up nicely. Mechanically, haven't done a whole lot. Put a Blitz pod filter on, and I had to have a adapter fabricated for that to fit. That was a very easy job. And it's had a service, just all the fluids and what have you, bit of a tune, but the major mechanical thing that's been fixed on that is the chain tensioner has been replaced. I think it's with a part from a Mazda engine, and this avoids the awful chain rattle that you get on the FJ20 when it starts up. So now it's just smooth as silk when it starts up. So 2017 for the DR30, yeah, that painting of the aero that I mentioned. I've also, from Yahoo Auctions, I've found an original stereo for the car, so that's going to go in, and I'll get that all hooked up. And, you know, as I've done in the 31, I'll use the cassette Bluetooth adapter so I can actually connect my phone to it. And yeah, it's as good as anything. You can do hands-free calls and all sorts. The DR30 is running very rich. It's got a 3-inch exhaust on it, and that pod filter, and like the tuner basically says, well, look, they can sort of mess around with the airflow meter a little bit to change the mixture, but you know, really it needs a proper ECU that can be tuned. So I might look at that during the year. There's some more engine bay repainting to do. The inlet manifold needs to be painted in that nice red dazzle paint. And inside the upholstery, the driver's side, one of the bolsters has a tear in it. So I'm thinking, what I saw something at a show recently was a DR30, the same red and black upholstery as mine, but the black had been replaced for like a kind of like a faux leather. And I actually really liked it. I thought it looked excellent. They kept the red, but done the black and basically in sort of leather. So I might look at that during the year just to tidy it up. Eventually, my mechanic tells me the engine is going to need a rebuild. It's a little bit rattly, it's a little bit low on oil pressure. And this is kind of one of these things of buying an older car, is that car's only done 79,000 original Ks. But when I bought it, it had been sitting. I think it had been sitting for a long time. The oil was pretty, clogged up, and I guess like when you go to buy a second-hand car, you can buy a high mileage, well maintained, regularly used can actually be better for the engine than something that's perhaps had long periods of sitting around not doing anything, not getting use. But look, it's no big deal. At some point, if the engine starts to rattle, start getting bearing noises or whatever, I'll definitely rebuild it. But yeah, whether that's 2017 or later, I don't know. So onto the HR31, the car we're in now. So this was the year I got it. 2016 was the year that I got it on the road. So I had to have a few minor things fixed before I could get it on the road. There was a little bit of rust in the driver's side floor pan that got fixed, and it kind of made me worried that the car was perhaps generally quite rusty. But later in the year I had the bonnet replaced, and basically the car had a sort of minor car accident ding. Someone drove into it in a car park, and as part of that fix I actually had them replace the bonnet, because the bonnet, it just looked like it had bad paint on it. But my repairer basically said, hell, this they didn't really want to take it back and find out that there was either rust in the bonnet or significant repairs. So it was cheaper actually just to source a new bonnet And in the process, a lot of the front of the car got taken to bits, and we got to have a really good look around it. And this car is really clean, like it's super clean, especially for its age. Like, yeah, so that little bit of isolated rust on the driver's floor pan was definitely not a symptom of the car being generally rusty. So after registration, it got coilovers, and those coilovers are Blitz coilovers from bought from R31 House in Japan. We refreshed the brakes, so just skimmed the machined the brake discs and changed the pads because they were a little bit old. It got a NIS-tuned computer, and it got tuned, made 195 rear wheel kilowatts. I think it's running 15 psi, about a bar of boost. I'm not sure about that. Get back on that. It also had a pod filter put in. Yeah, so that was the tuning. I mentioned the paint that it got, and as part of the sort of repainting of things, I put new stickers on the back of it. The Nissan and the GTS-R and the Nismo sticker. They're all easy to source. People remake those things all the time. And one interesting point is don't bother buying the original like 30-year-old stickers from Yahoo auctions or whatever. They've like the plastic on those is just completely gone off. I bought one and it was just a disappointment. You're much better off getting fresh laser cut stickers, and if you want to avoid them lifting up on the corners, then maybe just run some clear coat over them. So she put a short throw shifter in, or a solid shifter should I say, Nismo solid shift kit in it, just to improve the feel of the gearbox. But when I did that, I just found the shift knob was way too low, so I've put a 3-inch extension on the gear stick, and then I've put this nice Impul shift knob on, which I got from Yahoo auctions as well. So it's got the Impul logo on it, really nice aluminium. So it sounds a bit contradictory to put a shorter shifter in and then put a longer stick on, but the main thing with the shift kit is it made the gearbox shift much more solid feeling and notchy, which I really like. So it was more about the feel than it was about the length of the throw. So that's about it. What happened in 2016 for this car is nearly done. In fact, when I bought this car, I thought it was going to be the longest project because it was kind of the messiest looking at first impressions when I bought it. But as it turns out, it's nearly complete now. Next thing it needs a clutch. I bought a clutch for it. Clutch is just a bit on its way out. So we'll do that. And I've noticed from the first time I drove this car that there's a bit of a bit of vibration in the tail shaft. So we're going to get the tail shaft rebalanced. Again, this is really no big deal, and that the car's then sort of original and complete at that point. And so I think what I might do after that is just look at bigger wheels and tyres. Now that it's sitting nice and low on those coilovers, it actually looks, like the wheels look really small because the back's kind of cambered in a bit. And it makes the wheels look really, really small. So I was fiddling around the other day and I tried the BBS, 17-inch BBS wheels from the R32 V.spec on the car, and they almost fit with a 4 to 5 stud adapter. So I'm going to maybe look at getting those to fit, different adapter, slightly narrower tyre than would go on the R32. Yeah, see how we go there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the 31. It's pretty much complete. Someone asked me the other day, oh man, that car looks like fun to drive. Yeah, and it is. I really love this thing. Like, it's so different to the GT-Rs. It feels smaller, lighter, and it makes a fantastic noise. And with the coilovers that I've got in it, it's really nice and streetable. It's comfortable. Yeah, it's a great car. I'd happily own another one of these if I ever was to flip this one over, which I don't think I ever will. Alright, so the R32, again, it's pretty much finished. There's just, in the last year, I added some more carbon parts. So I added the Fujimura Rocket Dancer carbon front lip. That wasn't a cheap thing to get, but I think it's one of the best looking front lips for the 32 GT-R. Very happy with it. And I also added the boot lip spoiler, so the Nismo style boot lip spoiler in carbon from the same maker, and also replaced the little bonnet lip with a carbon item as well from the same people. So that sort of finished the outside look. Along with adding Nismo LMGT4 wheels, 18-inch wheels, and new tyres. And then at that point, the way the car looks now is pretty much it. I don't want to do any more cosmetic modifications to the 32. So the story for 32 this year is just getting the engine tune right. It's all standard at the moment, except it's running a X-Force 3-inch exhaust and HKS pod filters, and again it's running way rich, and there's really nothing you can do about that, or not much you can do about that. You can mess around with timing, but can't really do too much about it without installing a aftermarket ECU. So looking at doing a Link ECU and not doing any kind of radical tuning or anything, just bump it up to a safe tune and get this air fuel mixture all sorted out. I took that car on a long drive during the year, and at the end of it, there was a lot of unburnt fuel sitting on the back of the all over the back of the car. So I could tell it just wasn't right. So yeah, that's the 32. All right, final of the force of the Skyline 4, if you like, is the 34. I haven't had the 34 for very long. All I've done this year is put new tyres on it. The tyres were shot. All the electrics that were in the car, like there was like a TV player, and there were all this other stuff in there. I took the car to a good auto electrician, and I just got them to strip all the aftermarket rubbish out of it, except for the immobiliser. So yeah, all that crap's gone. And I was very lucky through Mark Dodd, who runs the GTR registry, managed to help me find an original sat-nav unit for the car. So the 34 is back to its original sat-nav and stereo, which, wow, I mean I'm very lucky to be able to do that. I'm very happy about that. For me, as you know, I kind of like a comfortable mixture of modified versus original, but when it comes to interiors, I'm very much about keeping things pretty much original, and especially with stereos. I think that's now all the Skylines are actually running their original stereos. And I did a little bit of paint tidy ups on that car. It's probably got a few more to go yet. There's a few scratches and things on it, but yeah, I haven't yet had a full service on the R34. It was serviced before I bought it, but it needs a full service and tune. It's got a little bit of a misfire, and it is running okay. But the main issue with it is the clutch. It's a big twin plate clutch in it, and that clutch does slip from time to time. So I've bought a new clutch for it, which I'll have installed very soon. The other thing is it's got a full Nismo sports exhaust system, but man, it's too quiet. So I'm going to have that, probably have some bits chopped out of that until we get to a nice balance there on the exhaust. The next thing is I kind of want to personalize the R34 a bit. I kind of feel like I bought it already modified, by someone else that's got the top secret engine, and it's got the Nismo fenders and bonnet, and I want to make it my own a bit. But I'm really quite sort of excited that it's the top secret tune. So what I want to do is actually make it more top secret looking. So I've sourced some Advan 19-inch Advan wheels in gold, and I'm going to swap out the LMGT4 black wheels that are on it and put these gold Advan wheels instead. I think that'll be that'll just it'll personalise it for me then, and that'll probably be cosmetically pretty much the only thing I'll do to it. There's nothing else really needs doing on that car. Yeah, apart from some minor paint and, you know, dyno tune it properly, it's supposed to make 360 plus kilowatts at all four. That's what the dyno report from Japan says. I don't think it's doing that at the moment, so we'll get that all sorted out, running smoothly, and yeah, the 34 will be pretty much done at that point, I think. The other car I bought recently is a Ford Focus RS. I just bought that as a sort of everyday runabout car, man, that's look, it's a fun thing, but you've probably, if you've watched other videos about the Focus RS, you realise that there's quite a long list of faults. I mean, so many that it should probably be owned by a seismologist. But when I say faults, I just mean like really odd things about it, like, you know, the exhaust isn't loud enough, the gas pedal is too low for heel and toe operation, the ride's a bit too firm, the air conditioning's not super effective, the turning circle is awful. Apart from all that, it's, you know, no, it is actually, it's got a heap of personality, that car. It's very enjoyable, but I'm going to make 3 modifications to it right away, which is a cold air box, K&N cold air box, Miltech exhaust system, catback exhaust system, and they've got a Mishimoto like pedal adapter thing which will move the gas pedal back into place so you can actually heel and toe. So yeah, I'll probably do a video on that at some point. We'll do a before and after on the dyno and see what sort of results we get out of those 2 engine mods. Alright, so yeah, that's it. Tell me about your plans for your cars, and click the subscribe to see more videos about these cars and the others, and have a great 2017. I hope it's very successful for you. I hope all your car and other dreams come true. So we'll just finish off with a little acceleration here for you on the GTS-R. It's such a great sounding car. Listen to this. Quick too. I mean, 195 kilowatts in a pretty light car, 1300 kilos I think. Oh yeah, it's wonderful. See ya.